In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Montblanc 149 Origins fountain pen with Bespoke Signature Nib. I'll go over the specs, I will do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. So, this is a Montblanc 149 Origins fountain pen. And this celebrates 100 years of the Meisterstück, which was originally launched in 1924. Now, this is a pen that I have to admit I visually didn't really care for when it first came out. My friend then got one and was like, oh, you got to get one. It's amazing in person. And at the time, this was only, I guess, a year ago, because 2024, we still had our Montblanc boutique in San Francisco, but they didn't have one. I was going to Honolulu. The Honolulu boutique had one, so I paid for one over the phone with the being told that if I don't like the pen, they'll refund me. So when I got there, didn't like this pen, ended up getting this curved 149 instead. It was a very annoying experience because they didn't do what they said they would do, which is refund me. They gave me a credit, which gave me some leftover money to spend at Montblanc. It was just a headache. I have to say, the Montblanc boutique experiences, my Montblanc boutique experiences, have been really hit or miss. There's a lot of people that work at these boutiques that don't really know too much about pens, but then also, not doing what they said they were going to do and, give me a refund instead of a stupid credit was just really annoying. Really not happy with that experience. Now, I will say that my sales associate in San Francisco, who has now moved to the Las Vegas boutique because the San Francisco one closed, she has been very good. I've had some very good experiences in specifically German Montblanc boutiques. But anyway, fast forward this year, I reviewed a bespoke nib that on a 146 that a friend lent to me, and after that I decided I want to have one myself. It should be on a 149 because that's my favorite Montblanc, and I couldn't really figure out which pen it should be. Well, it was this one. It ended up being this one. I already have the gold colored one. I have a platinum plated one. And then, they do make a rose gold, which I don't have, which would have been interesting, but I couldn't find that for a good deal. This I found at Joma Shop for, I want to say right around $1,000. These are normally $1,400, so I was like, all right, it's different. We'll just do it. Ordered the pen, it came, it looked good, and then sent it to the Las Vegas boutique so they could send it out to Germany to do the bespoke nib here. So looking at the pen, it is quite a bit different than a regular 149. The snow cap Montblanc star is bigger. The clip is bigger. We have this all metal finial. We have a metal piston knob here. We have this old style Montblanc engraving 4810, which is the number of meters high Montblanc is. And then we have Montblanc, a little mountain thing, and Meisterstück. It's neat looking. The one thing I don't love, well, I guess I also don't love all the platinum plated trim. Not my favorite. I don't really like the look of this clip. Yeah, I mean, this is the original 149 clip. This is something from an older Meisterstück pen. It definitely has a bit of an S curve to it, and it terminates in a ball. It just doesn't look right really on this pen, in my opinion, but I've gotten used to it, and it is a nice pen being 149. We have this sort of blended precious resin here, which is supposed to be sort of like a look inky. I don't know. It's black with maybe a little bit of blue. It only makes it on the cap here, and I believe, let me know if I'm wrong about this, this particular part is not injection molded like a normal 149, because I don't think you can do injection molding with this kind of swirling, but I could be wrong about that. Now, the cap ring here says Meisterstück and 1924 to 2024. because this is celebrating 100 years of the Meisterstück, and that's why this is called the Origins. Now, uncapping the pen, 1 and 3/4 turn. We have the nib here. This is the Origins nib. You can see 100 on there because this is the 100th anniversary, and we can also see 1924 and 2024 on the sides there. A pretty looking nib, single tone nib. I do wish it was two-tone because that always looks nicer, but it is what it is. I ordered this from Joma Shop with a medium, and I then had it turned into what's called their signature small nib. So we can see there are 3 tines here, and I asked for them to make this sharper, to make it more of a crisp italic, which they did, and this nib is absolutely fantastic. This is maybe my new favorite nib, beating out my Aurora Factory Italic. Now, if we turn it over, there's a plastic feed, and we can see there are all these extra channels in the tip that really just helps get ink flow to the nib. And I will say the performance of this is just phenomenal. It really keeps up with everything. It never skips. It's pretty forgiving while still being sharp, so you get really thick and thin lines. It's super nice. And we'll do that. We'll do the writing sample there shortly. There is a ink window, standard 149 ink window. You just can't see it because there's ink in here. The size is the same as a regular 149. The only difference here is the weight. So let's take a look at the weight. So 38 grams versus 32 grams. So you really actually don't gain too much in the weight. I do feel though, like when I post this, and keep in mind these are both modern ones, the older ones are not as heavy as this. They do feel pretty similar posted. I will say that it balances pretty nicely in my hand. For the writing sample, I'm going to be using a Papermine Tomoe River hardcover notebook. These notebooks are excellent for fountain pens and for Blake's broadcast viewers and subscribers. You can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. So this is the Montblanc, oops, if I can spell, 149 with Bespoke Small Signature Nib. And this is Hiroshi Zuku Shinkai. All right, we can try some fast writing. It's me, it's the position sensitivity, but we are seeing a little bit of, that's really extreme. I mean, you're never going to really be writing that fast. This thing keeps up really, really, I think, beautifully for how wide and wet this is. It's basically just like a 2 millimeter italic, but it's very forgiving, and you do get some really nice, line variation because the fine lines are so much finer than the downstrokes. I absolutely love it. It doesn't dig into the paper. I've been writing with this on some more textured papers and journaling with it, and it works really, really well. We can see what reverse writing does. I don't know what the point of that would be. Not good. Doesn't do it. Okay. In terms of flexibility, no, there really isn't any, and I don't want to push too much on this. But this is just a super, super nice nib. You know, you get the width, but you can still, you know, depending on the angle, right, that you hold it, you know, you can make pretty small E's and still have the negative space, which is really one of the things that, you know, when you start getting into really fat nibs, like for instance, here's a salamander, you know, this is like an architect making an E that small. Is quite a bit harder to do. Yeah. But interestingly, you know, the line width between these two nibs is very similar. So what are my pros and cons for the Montblanc 149 Origins pen with Bespoke Signature Nib? Well, the Signature Nib is amazing, and, you know, it's right up there with my favorite nib of all time, the Aurora Optima Italic, Factory Italic. This, I don't know, I'm like teetering. Do I like this better? It's really that good. So, one of the best nibs I've ever used, and it's fun. You can still journal with it, even though it is wide, because the cross strokes are so thin. It allows you to write smaller than you normally would with a nib that's like 2 millimeters wide. So really, really happy with the nib. The pen itself is a 149, which is one of my favorite pens. It's very comfortable. It's just a great, you know, long writing session kind of pen. And it really is a classic. It's something that people recognize and I think will always have some appreciation for. And I will say I do like that we have quite a different look. I like some of the old style design elements of this pen. And I like that it adds variety to a 149, which historically doesn't get very many, you know, special editions. You know, we've had the 90, the 75, we had the Elf Philharmonic, we had a rather unattractive Orient Express pen, and then we've had the Homer, the Hemingway, and which other 149 variants am I missing here? But just not for Mont Blanc, not a lot of different looking ones. So happy to have this. I think it looks not as pretty maybe as the standard 149, but it's also less boring. Don't love the look of the clip on this, but it's interesting, I guess. I also don't like all of the extra metal trims that they put on this. I don't think that's helping from a elegance standpoint. um, but overall, it works. It posts just as nicely as the standard 149. And of course, the other major con here is going to be the price, especially once you start putting a signature nib on this. Yeah, this is almost a $2,600 pen. That's really, really expensive. Now, if you don't do the bespoke nib, I believe the retail price on this pen is 1400, and I would just buy the regular one unless you already have a couple of these like me. I think it's the better looking pen. It's a little bit more subtle than this. And you get the two-tone or the tritone nib, I think as they call it, whereas this is just a single tone. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.